Hello, 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 beautiful people. I'm Leah Murphy. I am the CEO of Career Gems for the Journey, and we are back with another LinkedIn Live, and we're also streaming to YouTube Live. So, really, really excited to be back with you all. And we're in the midst of a series. So, last week we talked about something that I think to be really, really important, and I wanted to just make sure that we get into that. But in addition to getting into that, I have an announcement to make. Announcements. Okay, I'm not going to get into like camp counselor mode. So we have an announcement to make, much anticipated for those of you who are streaming with us live and are watching this. And for those of you who are going to watch this on the replay and your eyes are glued to the screen, I wanted to make sure that I let you all know that we have officially launched the pre-order for Triumph in the Trenches, which is the anthology that I've been working on and talking to you about for the last, I don't know, maybe 2 months. But it's official. It's official beginning today. We actually brought it up a day or so early because we were originally going to launch on February 1st. But my team worked on it in the background and were able to knock it out of the park. So the pre-order is available on my website now. It is gemsforthejourney.org/triumphs. And there's an S at the end. I dropped it into the chat here so that folks can see it. It's also going to be in the comments after this live is completed. So definitely wanted to make sure I got that to you as quickly as possible. Folks have been asking, when can I get the book? What is it going to look like? What's it going to be like? And the pre-order page is available. So gemsforthejourney.org/triumphs, and you will be able to do a pre-order for your copy of Triumph in the Trenches. So really excited for that. So I wanted to make sure we do a check-in. You guys know how we roll over here. And we want to make sure that anybody who is joining us live, wherever you are in the world, because now we're hearing that folks are joining us from all over the U.S., outside of the U.S., Europe. We got a couple of folks who are joining us in Africa. We got a couple of folks who are joining us in Australia. So I'm excited. I'm excited to welcome you wherever you are in the world. So drop your city in the chat. Wherever you are listening to this or experiencing this live, drop your city in the chat. I'll make sure to shout you out, to give you an acknowledgement. I always like to do a vibe check. Who's with us? Who's actually experiencing what we have to offer? Because there's also an opportunity just to engage and feel for folks. So I really enjoy just knowing who's with me. So go ahead and drop your city in the chat. I appreciate that. And as I mentioned a little bit earlier at the top, we are in the midst of a series, right? And this series was really dropped by some research that I was doing on holistic thinking about ourselves as a member of a network or a community. We as humans are not designed to be alone, right? We're designed to be in community with other people. And those are the people that are the most successful. We talk about that in corporate or in professional terms as your network. But as humans, like a fundamental level, we're designed to work together, to collaborate, right? To communicate with one another in order to get our needs met, in order to protect ourselves, in order to stay safe. There's lots of things that we're trying to work to do, but we have to do it as a member of a part of a broader community. So when I said that, it kind of sparked some other topics that I had been working through in preparing for the anthology and writing that material. The talented Carla Harris, who has, books on tops of books, talking about really strategizing for your career. I always go back to her work when I am trying to figure out what are the foundations that we're trying to draw people to and like really move the needle on. So I go back to her work. So part of this helped me to think about, how do I help you make your journey work for you? Right? How do I help you make your journey work for you? Because I want to be a member of your community, right? Even if it's virtual, that's a member of your community. So that's what I'm here to do. We help professionals build thriving careers here at Career Gems for the Journey. And I want to do that for you, for all of you who are here with us, who are listening. So I'm going to get into the topic because the series continues. It looks like David Hayden is with us. Shout out to you. Welcome, David. So glad you could join us live. It's been years and years and years, but David and I worked together in a previous life. So you never know who you're going to come across and how, your path will continue to cross, right? Going back to this idea of we are meant to be a part of a network. We're meant to be part of a community. So let's jump into it. So last week we started off and the topic subject was pause the work and go make some professional friends. Pause the work. And folks are like, what are you talking about? I'm already doing a bunch of stuff. So let me give you some context for those of you who weren't able to join us live last week. I'm not going to go into it deeply because I want you to run over and take advantage of that previous recording. And then you'll be all caught up because we're only at part 2 of the series. But essentially, lots of people, and I hear it all the time from clients, and some of this was adopted directly from previous generations, from our elders, from our mentors, from our parents, college professors, who, teachers, anybody who we came across in our formidable years may have told you, put your head down, do the work will speak for itself, that'll be enough. And what we've learned today in the environment that we're working in, I'm talking about in the year of 2024, that's not enough. And unfortunately, I know it's frustrating for a lot of us because it's like, well, that's what I've been doing all this time, and I'm still not seeing the benefits yet fully of just working hard. And that's because working hard is not enough. So I want to encourage you to pause, right? As Carla Harris says, divert some of your hard working energy to go developing relationships. So this is a series that's going to help you focus specifically on developing relationships with people who are not in your core function. So if you work in marketing, I want you to develop some friends in communications. I want you to develop some friends in engineering and supply chain, in brand development and sales. I want you to develop some friends. But I'm going to give you a list, kind of play by play, of what friends you really should have. And I'm saying, friends in the context of professional relationships, so that you get that benefit of not only knowing what's happening in other parts of the organization that you're in now, but you can see what's happening in other organizations too, because it's not all if you are going to stay in-house. So if you're going to stay in your organization and this is a fit for you and you want to continue to grow your career there, dope, amazing. You still need professional friends to excel in the organization, to continue to grow in that organization. You can still benefit from professional friends. Then if you're thinking about, listen, I'm ready to make a transition, I'm going to move into a new organization, I'm going to do my own thing, take my talents to South Beach, as LeBron says, you still need to know professional friends because you need people in other functions, because that intel will help you make career decisions. So today, I'm giving you a twofer. Last week, I only did one. Today, I'm going to give you a twofer because these are the two that I find to be sleepers in a lot of people's networking relationship. So number 1, for the go find some professional friends, pause the work and go make some professional friends. Number 1 for today is legal. You need to have some friends who work in legal, whether they're attorneys directly or whether they're paralegals or support legal in some capacity. Friends in legal will give you so much information and intel. It will give you information on policies and procedures that the organization has committed to and they're on board with. It'll give you information on what the company is fighting against, resisting, right? What are we trying not to get looped into? What are we trying not to be a part of? But it will also tell you in the organization, once you start to hear more about the role you want and what you're aspiring to and where you need to be invested, legal has so much decision-making power and influence on things like pay equity, on things like employee relations and direct employee relations issues, or employee relations policies and practices. They are behind the scenes in a lot of ways, and they're never going to come looking for you. I'm going to tell you now, you're going to have to go find them. They're never going to come looking for you. They have a full plate. They got a lot to do. They got a lot going on. They have a tremendous amount of responsibility, but there is so much rich information and intel that is not necessarily sensitive information that they can share. It's public knowledge, but you just have to be asking the right people the right questions. So go get you a friend in legal. Make a friend with one of the attorneys, one of the employee relations attorneys, one of the merger and acquisition attorneys, one of the attorneys that are focused on policy or even communications. Go get you a friend in legal. I'm telling you now. Amazing amounts of insights. I learned so much about what the organization's priorities were and where we were putting our energy from making friends in legal. And I mean, attorneys are dope. They're fun. They're smart. They're well read. Like, they get a bad rap, and I get it. They get a bad rap for reasons that make sense for other folks. But I'm telling you now, from an information standpoint, and from a who is the most informed in the organization, legal has all of the tea, all of it, and then some. And there's a lot of stuff that they can't tell you, and that's fine. I'm not trying to put anybody in a bad position, but there's a lot of stuff that they can. So go make you a friend in legal. And in the second part of this, go make yourself some professional friends. For today, it's finance. It is finance. Finance/accounting, depending on your organization, but it's finance. Every company has somebody in finance. Every company has somebody who's watching the books, who's watching the numbers, who's closing out the month, who's closing out the quarter, who's closing out the year, who's making sure that the money is moving to the places that it needs to move. And when the money isn't moving, they're the ones who are going to say, get your act together, the money's not moving where it needs to go. So I'm telling you, finance has a tremendous amount of information. Now, the other, maybe a month or so ago, I did a whole series on, it was at the end of the year for performance review discussions. And I was focusing really hard for folks on every year is not the year to have a breakout performance. Every year is not the year to have a breakout performance. I said what I said. So for those of you who are working hard, head down, toiling, putting in the hours, taking on these special projects, really trying to drive to grow your career, trying to get the performance and the results so you get the visibility, every year is not the year for that. And the reason why I'm mentioning finance at this time is if you're having a year where your organization is not performing well financially, if that is the year, then it is not a good year to have a bang out performance. It's not. It's not going to benefit you financially because there's going to be very little dollars for incentives or bonuses. Finance is telling you the year's not going well, money's not there. It's not the year to have a breakout year. Number one, because it's not going to benefit you financially, but also it's because the organization just isn't in a place to be able to promote and expand and give additional compensation when you're having a really bad financial performance year. And we know corporations, nonprofit organizations, institutions, things ebb and flow, right? There are years where things are going really well. There are years that they're not. If you have a friend in finance and in those dialogues with your finance friend, you're understanding that this quarter, this half, this year isn't going the way the company wants, you then have a great amount of intel to make a decision and say, okay, do I save my capacity for later on when it can actually benefit me and the organization? Because I want you to make sure that it benefits you, right? Not just benefiting the organization. So when you think holistically about when it's time to double down and really invest in accelerating your career so that you can negotiate for better compensation or so that you can pull one of the levers that go along with solid performance, it should be a year where the company is financially performing well. It should be a year where the company is financially performing well. If not, you will have all the wins on the board, you will have all of the results, but you will have none of the incentives that go along with it. And the fact of the matter is people have very short memories. So if you're going about it in a year where there isn't an opportunity for great financial performance, then you hoping that that'll carry over for the next year, it doesn't carry over to the next year. They're going to expect you to continue to perform at that level or higher in order for the next year to be the year that you have the bang out performance and that you get the appropriate rewards and incentives as a result. So as you think about making your journey work for you, because that's what we're here to do, make your journey work for you, making sure that you have friends who are in other areas of the organization that you're in or in in other departments and areas for external relationship building. There's lots to learn by actually being curious and building solid relationships with people who are in places that have just a completely different perspective for the work that you do. It only serves the organization for you to really stay in your silo and focus and go down deep into the work that you do and the work that you do only. Because you're going to be a great performer, you're going to produce results. You may become a subject matter expert in what you do, but it lacks the ability to leverage the community aspect and to get better information about what choices that you want to make related to your career now and in the future. Once we know that big things are happening in the background or big commitments are being made, now we can say, that's a great opportunity for me to consider taking a cross-functional role now, or making a lateral move to get this additional skill set because I can work on this project. But if you're only focusing in your function, in your silo, you're doing yourself a disservice and you're leaving lots of information on the table. Information leads to great decision making in a scenario where we're talking to folks who are strategically thinking about growing their career. And I want you to be one of them. I want you to be one of the people who are strategically looking to grow your career wherever you are. If you're choosing to stay in your current organization, or if you're choosing to pivot and make a shift and leave the organization that you're at and join another organization, or even if you're thinking about starting your own thing. Right? I know there's a lot of entrepreneurs who are also a part of this community, and what you can learn from legal as an insider, right? And really yield as much information as you can from the job that you have now, your 9 to 5 or your current full-time situation. Whatever you can yield now will help you in your business in the future. So even if you're thinking, none of this is for me, I'm not trying to get promoted, or I'm not interested in negotiating or staying in this organization, cool. If you're looking to transition and do something new, all of the things that you've learned in your previous work experience should come to bear in your business. I can certainly say that that's been my experience. And anything that you can learn there and have a better handle on when you transition out will pay dividends as an entrepreneur for you in the future. So when I say pause the work, pause doing the work and getting your hands dirty and producing all the results, I'm not saying stop altogether. I'm saying slow down on that and make sure that you're putting a good portion of that investment into making some professional friends. Because as I mentioned before, Carla Harris has said, divert some of your hard-working energy to developing relationships. And in the last one, we talked about not just developing relationships that are vertical, not just relationships that are senior leaders or people who are senior to you to get that exposure. That is a necessary path to take. But there's also this lateral, cross-functional peer relationship building that is so necessary and so valuable. And it will help you to know the landscape, know the atmosphere in your organization better so that you can make decisions that'll benefit your career. So today's 2, and I'm going to close with this. Today's 2 are legal. Go ahead and make you some friends in the legal department. Learn more about where the priorities of the company are from people who are doing that work. And it also has a huge, huge, huge part to tell you what the company is trying to avoid, stay away from, what they are trying to make sure that they're not associated with, because legal is deeply rooted in that. And then the second one is finance. Make you a friend in finance. Make sure you get to know someone who's closing the month financially, closing the quarter, right? Someone who is paying attention when it comes to earnings. These people have very valuable information that will help you decide, should I stay or should I go? Should I stay in this role? Should I pursue promotion? It's all about having appropriate information. And oftentimes, if your head is down and you're not focused on what else should I be learning, not just as a subject matter expert in what I do and being great at what I do, but what should I be learning in the network of information that's going to help me to make decisions for myself? Professional friends and relationships are the way to go about it. So pause the work, Go make yourself some professional friends. Tell them your executive coach told you to do it. You can blame me, absolutely. But I'm telling you, this is what senior leaders are already doing. This is what executives are constantly doing. This is what director and vice president levels, they're constantly in communication with people in other departments, in other functions, to understand how one decision impacts the other. So I'm just encouraging you to do it for yourself because they're already doing it, and likely your manager is never going to tell you. I'm here to tell you. Your manager's not. I'm here to tell you this is the way to help grow your career and make sure that you have great peer relationships so you can have the information necessary to make a really great informed decision as you look to grow your career. So it's been great riding with you all. I want to make sure that I remind you all that the pre-order for Triumph in the Trenches is available now and it's official. I'm so excited for this project. I can't wait to share it with you. If you pre-order today, if you pre-order before the book actually launches, which is going to be later in February, you will also get a free one-on-one coaching session with me. So if anything I've ever said to you or anything you've ever heard me say is something that is valuable and you're like, man, I got to figure out how to incorporate what Leah is saying into my own experience, and I want to be able to do that, a one-on-one coaching session with me is a great jumpstart. That's number one. You get a free one-on-one coaching session. You get the actual copy of the book. And then we also have wristbands that say Triumph in the Trenches. So it's really a great opportunity just to promote thinking about yourself as a professional who is going to thrive in the workplace. And as you're doing that, using the references and resources that Triumph in the Trenches are going to provide for you from these stories of professionals in the workplace, in addition to the work that you're already doing, because you're here now listening to this, you're on LinkedIn Live, you're listening to YouTube videos and pursuing better for your career, the game is going to change. The game is absolutely going to change. So take advantage, get that pre-order going right now for those who purchase before the book actually does launch and gets it on pre-order. You'll get that free one-on-one coaching session with me, and that'll be available immediately on your purchase of the book. So head over to gemsforthejourney.org/triumphs in order to grab your pre-order. And it is a hard copy book that will be mailed to your home, and you'll get a free one-on-one coaching session with yours truly. So this has been amazing. Thank you so much for riding with us, riding with me. I will be back here next Tuesday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and we're going to continue the series. And the preview for the next group of people, this is a really small team, but they're directly giving out all of the external information to what the priorities are of your most senior leaders. So they're talking to the most senior leaders, and then they're talking to the public. So this group of people has a direct line of communication to your customer, to your consumer, to the public, and you definitely want to make sure you know what they're telling the public. So it's been amazing. I will see you next time. Appreciate you all for riding with me. Please do join me next Tuesday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'd love to see you there.